to JavaJSM, and as of now we have already understand what is the lambda expression and how we are implementing the functional interface with the help of the lambda expressions. Okay, so directly we don't want to create one more classes and we don't want to provide an implementation for that methods. We can directly implement with the help of the lambda expressions here. Okay, if you see this code you can understood, okay, this is the implementation of this particular interface and which is functional interface. Okay, and this is the method called message, and this message method we have implemented here. Okay, so what is the rules and what is the guidelines and what are the data types? We have to think about it, and based on that only we have to develop and we have to implement our lambda expression. That is also very important to understand for us. Okay, so basically what will happen is like we have like message is a one of the interface, and we are providing like we are not giving the whatever the abstract having a methods, those method names here we no need to give the method names, and directly we are providing the what are the arguments we have, what are the parameters we have to pass. You can pass here and then we can print it. Okay, what are the lines of the codes you want to write inside this, you can write here. Okay, as of now we understand those things, but still we don't know what is the rules, what is the guidelines and how we can do it. So in this video I am going to discuss about what is the rules, what we can do, what we can't give, what is the things we have to take care each and everything. Okay, so let me discuss about those things also. Okay, so if I open here rules of the lambda expressions, and believe me, it's a very important rules. If you know these rules, then only you are able to implement the lambda expressions. Okay, rule number 1, parameters are not mandatory. It can be 0 or greater than 0. Okay, it should be 0 or greater than 0. Parameters should not be, okay, should not be. Parameters are not mandatory, that is the one thing, and it can be 0 or greater than. So if you implement the lambda expressions, maybe the functional interface does not having any parameters or parameter, that is possible, and we can easily implement it. We can remove it also, and we can give the parameter also separated with comma. Okay, this is the first rule. If you talk about the second rules, if no parameters are available, you must use an empty parenthesis. You can use the empty parenthesis if it is not any parameters. This is the condition you have to put. Parenthesis, this is the lambda expression, and this is the curly braces open and close. Inside this you can write how many lines of the codes you want to implement for those particular method, you can write. Okay, this is the rule number 2nd. Rule number 3rd is if you have multiple parameters, use a comma to separate it with them. So you have a, for example, in the functional interface method having a multiple parameters, then you can separate with the comma, int a, int b, system.out.println. you can write your statement here. Okay, so like that you can give the multiple parameters also implementations. For example, here having a one parameters, you can give multiple parameters, is also no issue. Okay, rule number 4th, curly braces are optional if the body contains only one statement. Okay, so curly braces means whatever the curly braces we have given here, if you see. Okay, let me open my ledgers. Okay, whatever the curly braces you are able to see here, those curly braces are not required if a statement of what is the line of the code you are going to write inside the body, it should be 1. Okay, correct. If the body contains more than one statement, curly braces are necessary. It means if you have a multiple line of the codes, then you have to write inside the curly braces only. Okay, like that, and end of that you have to write the semicolon of the curly braces. That is mandatory things you have to understand. Okay, next, the type of the parameters are optionals. There is no need of declarations, there is no need of declare manually because the compiler can anticipate based on the context. Okay, if it is one parameters, you don't want to write one or two parameters, you don't want to write a data types of these parameters. The type of the parameters are the optional, so you don't want to write here int. You can write also, but it's optional, you don't want to write also. Okay, there is no need to declare manually because the compiler can anticipate based on the context. Okay, understood. So whenever you see like int a or some place you can see directly a also, that is fine, no issue in that. Okay, so this should be clear. If I enter it, you can get the some other rules. Okay, so if only one parameters is available, parenthesis is not mandatory. Okay, if it is one parameters only, one parameters, then you can remove the what parenthesis, this also not required. If it is multiple, then you have to give definitely. If it is not also, you have to give the parenthesis. If it is one, you don't want to give. I hope you understood. Functional interface can be assigned a Java lambda expression. Functional interface. So functional interface can be assigned a Java lambda expression. So whatever the functional interface we have, that should be assigned in the lambda expression. So for example, summation interface we have, and we have two parameters we have passed, and we have written the value. Like that you can implement it. And this is the lambda expression. Some of the questions if you do, then you can understood, okay, what is the exactly lambda expression and how it will work. So this is basically rules we have discussed. Okay, and this rule is very important. Okay, believe me, if you don't know these rules, you may be confused and you not understood what is the exactly rules are saying. Okay, start with some of the basic and try to implement with some example and understand what is the lambda expression and how we are providing the implementation of functional interface in the lambda expressions. Okay, without parameter, without return type. Without parameters, returns with the type. So without parameters, without return types, we have to create one method and we have to provide the implementation for that. Without parameter, without return type. Okay, let me go to the Eclipse. Okay, and here you can see this is the one message I have method. The return type is what it means, without return type, and I don't want to pass this string also. Okay, so this is the abstract method and I have to provide the implementations of this particular abstract method with the help of the lambda expression. So what I can do is I can given the message, which is the interface name, message to reference variable I will given, and after equal to I have to remove this message because I don't want message, I don't want to pass the argument, and then after whatever the lines of the codes I want to write, I can write here. Okay, and I can print. So I don't have a message, so we have to write our own code. Java is yes. Okay, for example, I have written it, and in that times I don't want to pass any parameter also. I can directly call this method like that. Okay, so this is the way to implement the without parameters, without return type of method implementation with the help of the lambda expressions. I hope guys you understood. Okay, let me off this one. Let me open it. So you can see the output is java.json. You are able to see. Okay, if you have a multiple line of the code, maybe you don't want to implement like that, you have to write a multiple line of the code, you want to print something else. So what you can do, you can provide the curly brackets, and after the curly brackets what you can do is, after the curly braces, this is the curly braces for the this one, and here you have to give the semicolon. Okay, and inside this you can write whatever you want, whatever the implementation. Let me write one for loop and iterate over the indexes, and it will go up to 10, and I will print here something else out. So many people are the confused, like when we have to give the curly braces, when we don't want to give. So don't get confused here, it's a very simple. Okay, and let me write here I value, and I will print those value also. So if you see the output here, you can see, okay, java.json and 0, 1, 2 up to 10 it's printed. Okay, so this is the output. Okay, why this is the output? Because this is the functional interface, and this functional interface we have implemented with the help of lambda expressions. This is nothing but lambda expressions only. Why we have given the without only parenthesis? Because there is no parameter is required, and we don't want to give the method name also here. Okay, and we have given the lambda expressions. You can give here a space also, and this lambda expression open, and this is the close. Don't forget to give the semicolons, and inside this whatever the code you have a requirement, you can write and you can implement your method directly. Understood guys? Understood. Okay, let me take another examples. Without parameters with return type. So in that case, without parameters with return type, so we don't want to take any parameter for the first interface, but we have to return some value. So let me return some value like a string. Okay, and here what I'm doing is, here if it is parameter you have to pass. So for example ms or maybe you can write data. Okay, so this is the data variables we have passed, and curly braces open and close. but make sure you have to return the value also. So here you can write a return type which is Java is JSON. We have to return only any string value, so Java is JSON. Okay, this is a returns type you can give. And this is the data lambda expression signature does not match with the signature of the function interface method message. Okay, so this is the data I have given. Oh my god, without parameters, so I don't want to pass any parameters here. Okay, we just have to return the value, and once we have provided the implementations of this method, which is the functional interface, it will return some value which is Java JSON, and once it is returned, we can store this value. We are calling here method msg, so we can store those value, and then after those value we can print easily msg. So you can see the implementation, like how exactly it will work. So first it will print Java JSON, then it will iterate the loop, and after the loop it's again printing the Java JSON because of this calling of the methods. Okay guys, you understood what is the implementation of the lambda expressions. Okay, one more things based on the rules only I will give you. Okay, if you see here the rule, what is saying is, if it is so many rules are there, but if you see here, if no parameters are available, you must use the empty parenthesis. Okay, so because of that only I have given here empty parenthesis, because there is no parameters are available for this message methods. Got it guys? Okay, let me go next. Okay, this is also implemented. We have single parameter without return type. Single parameters without return type. So for example, we have to pass one single parameters but without return type. We have already know, but let me implement it. So we don't want a return type, so I will write here void, and here I will write something like message. Okay, or data, we can write anything, and we have to pass the parameters, so we can write here data or message also. Okay, and we don't want to put the return type because we don't want to return anything. Okay, if you don't want to return here also, remove this line of the code also. Just we have to call, but while calling the methods we have to pass hello dear, and whatever the message we have passed we have to add first msg. Okay, and those messages will be added, so we are passing the message from here. So this will call this particular method which we have implemented here. With the help of the lambda expression, it will call and it will execute. It will print hello dear, Java is awesome. Let me give the column also, and then after it will print the loop, whatever the data we have. Right, you got it? Okay, let me run so that you can see the output and you can understood. So this is the output guys. Hello dear, Java is JSON, and 1 to 10, 0 to 10 it will print it. Okay, let me write here 1. Okay, and if you again run it, you can see the output 1 to 10, 1 to 10. Hello dear, Java is JSON. Okay guys, so this is the third task we have done, and this is the fourth one, multiple parameters with return type. So if you want to pass multiple parameters without return type or with return type, it's a with return type. So for example, we have a one function interface called calculator. Okay, let me write it. So I will write one interface calculators. Calculator, let me give the capitals because class name is always start with the capital letter. Calculator, inside this calculator I am going to create one add method. For example, abstract, or otherwise you can write here return type is nothing but int, and add addition, and we have to pass two parameters. So int a comma int b we can pass, and by default the method is abstract only, so we don't want to put abstract keyword here. Okay, understood? And this is the calculator method. I want to provide the implementation for that. Let me remove this one. Okay, and I have to provide the implementation for these abstract methods, this abstract method. So previously what we are doing, we are creating one more class, and because we can't create an object of the interface, so we are creating a class. Okay, let me remove all those things. Okay, so in the previous way, like before Java 1.8 features, what we are doing is we are creating a one class, okay, which is maybe calculator IMPL, right? And we are implementing the interface which is calculators, okay, and we are providing a body of like whatever the unimplemented method we have of those body, okay. And here what we are doing is basically we are adding two value which is nothing but a plus b, okay. So let me add it like a plus b, a plus b, we can add it and we can return those data also. This is the implementation we are providing in the before lambda expressions, okay. Like that we are writing a code for implementing the lambda expressions, right guys? But if you know the lambda expressions, you don't want to write that much line of the code, okay. You don't want to write that much line of the code. What you have to do, it's a simple what you have to do is basically in the main methods, first we have to take the message like what is the interface name, we have to store the object into the interface only. So what is the things is calculator, so I will write here calculator CAL, and now I will think, okay, this is the method which is the functional interface and I want to provide the body for that. So what I can do is basically I will write here code like, okay, this is the one, this is taking the two parameters. So let me write one parameters and we can pass the value. So we can give int a comma int b, but in lambda expression, and then after you can give the lambda expressions and you can open your curly braces and you can close it, and you have to give the semicolon only here, okay. And also you have to give the return type, so you can write here return, okay, and a plus b, you can add it and you can return it, okay. So this is the basically implementations. But if you talk about the lambda expression, no need to provide this int also, we just have to give the parameters. It's automatically understand, okay, this is the calculator interface, and this calculator interface having a one method which is taking the two argument, and this two argument is nothing but int type. So based on this type only it will understand and it will take this data. And this is the lambda expression, this is the open curly braces, close curly braces, and return a plus b. Implementation is done. But right now if you go with that one, you have to write a lots of lines of the code, okay. And then after, while calling this method of addition, you have to create the object of calculator IMPL first, okay. So what we are doing is we are creating a calculator IMPL object new calculator IMPL, okay, and then we are calling those methods, okay. So s out, and in the s out only, you can call those methods like IMPL dot addition, and after addition you can pass here 10 or 20 value, okay, or 90 value, and you can get the output, okay. So this is the way we are doing previously. But if you go to the like lambda expressions, these implementations, then you don't want to write a lots of the code. What you can do easily, you can call this method with cal. So cal dot additions, and you can pass here 20 and 30, and you can give the semicolon also, but I want to put this one into the s out, okay, and here you can pass it. So this is the very simple way to implement the calculator method. Let me run so that you can understood in the better way. So once I run this code, you can see the output. First output is nothing but 50, and second output is nothing but 100. Why 50? Because 20 plus 30 is what? 50, and 10 plus 90 is nothing but 100. Okay, so this is the previous way. It's not a lambda expression implementation, so let me remove it. I don't want to worry about it because we already know about it. Okay, let me go with the lambda expressions only, so I don't want to call like that. Simply I can write a method for that. Okay, and now you can see this is how simple of the lambda expressions, and we can easily implement it. Okay, simple, create a calculator interface, reference variables, and specify the method parameter, write a lambda expression, open curly braces, close curly braces also. And also one more things, if it is one line of the code only, you don't want to give these curly braces, you can remove it easily. Okay, and here you can write. Also, you don't want to write the return also. If it is one line of the code, it's automatically written. And now you can see how it is simple. Okay, how it is simple. And if you go and see, it's the same output. Okay, and not one times, you can call this method multiple times also. Okay, whatever the times you have to want, you can pass the methods and you can see the output. No issue in that. Okay, so that is the power of the lambda expressions. Within one line of the code, we have provided the implementations of this functional interface abstract method within the one line of the code. That is the power of the functional interface. Okay, so I hope guys you understood what is the functional interface and how we are providing a implementations of the functional interface. If you have any questions, please let me know so that I will definitely try to implement it. Okay, let me go and understand some predefined functional interface classes methods. Okay, so let me create one more class. Okay, class name is called test runnable interface. Okay, test runnable interface. So as of you know about like what is the runnable interface. Okay, if you go and see the runnable interface, Control Shift T. So this is the runnable interface. Okay, and it's available in the thread package. Okay, java.lang package, but it's a part of the threads. Okay, and this is nothing but it's a functional interface classes or interface you can say, and this having a only one run method, which is public abstract method. So only one having a abstract method. I want to provide the implementations of this runnable interface abstract methods. Okay, so let me provide this functional interface implementation. So what I can do is I can write here simply. I know like this runnable interface, I know like this method is not taking any parameters and it's not returning any parameters. So what I can do it, so simply what can I do is I can write here runnable. Okay, runnable r equal to, what is the parameter? Nothing. So what I can do is I can write nothing. Simple. Only I will give the parenthesis, and after that I have to give the lambda expressions. This is the lambda expression symbols, and open curly braces and close we have to provide here. Okay, so this is the implementations we have provided, but we have not written any line of the code here. Let me write s out. Okay, run method. Okay, if you want to print something like some of the values, so let me give the 5. Okay, and inside this whatever the lines of the codes you want to write, you can write it very easily. Okay, because we have provided the 3 or 4 lines of the code, so because of that I have given this curly braces which is open and close. Okay, so this is the implementations we have seen, like what is the runnable implementations. If you want to test it, or if you want to do the work with that, what we can do, we can create one main methods and we can test easily. So let me create the main methods. Okay, and inside the main methods we can paste this code, and then after like we have provided the implementations here, right? And here what we can do is we can create a thread class object thread th equal to new thread. Okay, so we can create a easily thread class of the object, and here what we can do is we can pass the runnable implementations. So you can pass here r also. Okay, and then after th dot start method you can call and you can see the output. Okay, so let me run once. So if you see, it's printed run methods 0 to 4. If I not pass the r here, because this is the method reference. Okay, and it's the implementations of the runnables, and if you not pass here, it will by default thread class run method will call. Okay, so maybe you are not able to see any output, but if you pass the reference which is runnables here, okay, then it will understood. Okay, I don't want to work on the default, I have to work on this particular thread. Okay, and this is the implementations of the thread class. If you have to do your own implementations of the thread without using the lambda expressions, you have to create one class, you have to implement the runnables, then after you have to provide the run methods like implementation, then only you can use it. But you can see now how much it's easy to implement the runnable interface using the lambda expression. Okay, so that is the power of the lambda expressions we can see. Let me put this code outside, okay, inside the class. Okay, let me format it. But if you see here, we are getting one error because R is not a static. So let me make it a static. Okay, now it's become a static. So whenever you are writing an implementation in the class level, it's makes sure it will be a static, then only you can access inside the static methods. In the main method we can say. So like that also you can write, but we are providing an implementation generally inside the method only when it is required. Understood guys? I hope you understood. So like that I can give lots of the example, but I will give you some of the assignment, like you can try to work with something called college. So for example, you have to create one college class, and this is the college is nothing but it's a interface, and in that interface having a multiple implemented college for something CIST, okay, RGPB, okay, and ASIST. So like that having a lots of the college, and all college have to implement one exam methods, and this college having exam method, if you implement this, and you have to provide the implementation for that. Okay, so this is questions for you guys, so please try yourself, and that is very, very important. So in this video we have understood like how to implement runnable interface, how exactly the lambda expressions will work, and we have understand what is the rules and guidelines for the lambda expressions. Okay, if you understood the rules of the lambda expressions, then you can easily understand each and everything of the lambda expression. It's a very, very simple. Okay, thank you so much.